Hello everybody and welcome back to Let's Play Rule the Waves 3 as Japan. So, barring any major changes, I would anticipate this being the last major war, if not potentially the last war outright for this series. The reason for that is simply because, if I recall correctly, the game ends when the year ticks over to 1971. So, we're May 1960 right now. Because I'm lazy, we're just going to say we got 10 years left. So I would somewhat anticipate this being the last major war, if not, like I said, potentially the last war outright. Let me get my timer started. And let's go ahead and begin. So end of last part, we started moving ships into position because we're about to go to war with Britain again, and France. Can't leave France out. They they are there, technically speaking, so, you know, gotta include them. But France on their own is kind of irrelevant, honestly. While they do have a larger fleet tonnage than us, and that's mostly just because they got more CVs, they're not a threat to us in any real way. In fact, really the only place where they can station a fleet, if not for the help of Britain, would be Madagascar, which actually I don't even recall. Is Madagascar? Yeah, okay, Madagascar is Indian Ocean. I could have sworn it was, but I wasn't 100% certain on that. And then the other place is Polynesia. And Polynesia doesn't give much in the way of base capacity. It has 20. Madagascar actually has even less at 10. So, you know, if we were fighting just France by themselves, they would not be able to do much to us. But fighting both France and Britain does mean that they get some of the base capacity that Britain provides in these various regions. So France will be here with a sizable fleet at some point during this war. The hope is that Germany will join in almost immediately and be able to help keep the British Royal Navy occupied in Northern Europe so we can, you know, do the things we want to do. Down here in Southeast Asia, which is namely, as I'm pretty sure I've said probably a dozen times over the course of this series, I want to, you know, have sole control, or effectively sole control, of North and Southeast Asia. Obviously, we already have that for Northeast Asia. The only thing that we don't have is Weihai Wei, because fucking China took that from us when they went communist, what, 30, 40 years ago, and we just have never had an opportunity to take it back because China realizes they can't fight us, and I can't piss them off quickly enough to be able to trigger a war, no matter how much spying on them I do. Same with loss of Hainan to them as well. But nonetheless, as far as we're concerned, we effectively control Northeast Asia. Russia alone is not a major threat, even though they do have a decent base capacity here, but we can't do anything about the Russian Far East. And then Weihai Wei, obviously, we're just not taking it back, so oh well. Southeast Asia, the only real things that we need to worry about is Singapore and Malaya. Mostly Singapore more than anything else. Let's see. Britain has a base capacity of 100. Western Australia is considered Southeast Asia. But unfortunately, we can't really do anything about Western Australia either. We can't invade it because it has a value higher than 10. And it's unlikely we'd be able to take it in a peace unless we took literally nothing else. And in that case, we would have to have successfully invaded Singapore and Malaya for that to be worthwhile. And that would also require a boatload of victory points at the end of the war, so it would have to be just a resounding defeat of the British Navy, or a revolution, forces peace on their part. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and actually, you know, kick back on, and hopefully we get a surprise attack on what British fleet exists here in Southeast Asia. It's not massive, it's a couple of light cruisers, a couple CVs, handful of destroyers. But if we can get a surprise attack on it, that would be helpful. at least for, starting off this war. New Italian torpedo bomber. I don't know why Italy is bothering with torpedo bombers in the 1960s, but okay. Tensions dropped a little bit with Britain, but I don't expect them to have dropped enough to avoid war. There we go. War is broken out between Japan and Great Britain. Sadly, no opportunities for a surprise attack, presumably because our fleets weren't in position quite yet. They will be in position when the turn finishes ticking over. So we would have had to have moved them a turn earlier, but we didn't have the resources for that. Or, well, not the resources. We just didn't quite anticipate the war quite as much. So, oh well. Well, let's see if we can get an invasion on Singapore very quickly. That would help us out significantly when it comes to wrapping this whole thing up. Whoops. Sub-hunters. Go on trade protection. We have boatloads of trade protection as a result of this. Now, actually, one thing I do want to mention, it's not something I typically do, mostly because I don't care about seaplane carriers, but technically at this point in the game, building a seaplane carrier with just a boatload of well, I say a boatload, but you could technically just build a seaplane carrier with a bunch of helicopters. Looks like 14 ASW value is the maximum there. So, what value gets us that? 10. Okay. That's fine. Drop the AA directors because they're not doing anything worthwhile. Make this a bit bigger. Let's see, what else can we do? So those don't have any impact on our ASW value, somewhat interestingly. I'm not quite sure what the deal is there. Obviously can't make you a minesweeper despite what we may want. Let's see, I guess just, do 7,000. Theoretically, we could do something like this. A couple of light AA. It's... Again, it's not a design that I would do personally. I don't care for it. Would probably be the best way to describe it, really. But technically, we could do something like this. And just get a boatload of ASW value from each of these. Because, let's see, what is most of our stuff for ASW value? The Nokazes, in theory, provide 10, and same with the Suzukazes. And then when it comes to the sub-hunters, they, in theory, could provide 10 each for quite a while now. So this would actually exceed them. And of course, you could use these in an actual fleet as well as your scout force, because they would have a boatload of, well, helicopters, which can do recon. So, I mean, I'm not big on seaplane carriers generally, especially when they're seaplane carriers, but it might actually be, an interesting concept to implement when you get helicopters. But unfortunately, at this point in the game, it's just a little bit too late for that to, I think, be worth something really exploring with any real benefits, especially considering we don't really have the money to afford doing it. Well, again, as I said before, hopefully Germany joins in pretty quickly. They have a higher fleet tonnage than Britain, so I'm hopeful that they'll join in once Britain starts moving their fleet out, and then that'll trigger Britain to bring the large parts of their fleet back. Okay, we have a convoy attack off the coast of India, which is not really a place I would want to fight them, given the opportunity. 2 dreadnoughts of ours, 2 CAs, 1 CL, 2 CVs, 15 destroyers versus 1 dreadnought, estimated. 1 armored cruiser, 11 CLs, 3 CVs and 3 CVLs, and then 17 destroyers. That's a sizable fleet. We exceeded the command check. Now, it is interesting that you're claiming that this is the estimated enemy force in the area, but this is the estimated enemy force in battle. So it's... my interpretation of that would be that the actual fleet that we're trying to destroy is comprised of a CVL, 3 CLs, and 3 destroyers, but that there might also be all these other things elsewhere out there that we sort of want to try to avoid running into, especially considering that it looks like we're being left with just a CL and a handful of destroyers. That's not great. We are not going to decline this battle, though, because I think that would be a bad start to the war. And we are immediately down 2 destroyers. So we have just the 1 destroyer with a CL. Okay. We have the Fubuki, a Shiokaze class. Wonderful. Okay, well, let's go. Enemy fleet is presumably over there. Luckily, we are going to have night on our side here for what advantage that provides us for avoiding the enemy fleet. Or, well, rather, their aircraft. More specifically. There we go. Now let's, actually turn in the direction of the enemy rather than away from them. I don't know what the hell that was about. Oh, actually, it looks like they don't even have a... Really? No, the game claims they have a airbase here around Bombay. Does it not have aircraft? Because we're not being given any range estimates regarding Bombay's aircraft. We have it for, Madras and way down here with Ceylon. And then, of course, ours way out over here in Rangoon. But do they not actually have aircraft in Bombay? Really? That's strange, to say the least, I think. But it does make our life easier in that case. Now we just gotta find their fleet. There we go, unknown radar contact. There we go. Game was just not accepting my input for some reason there. Okay, I don't know what's going on here, where the game is just not Did they change? No, I don't think they did they? They must have. They must have. And I missed it in the change log. Because spacebar is not doing a turn at a time. Give me 1 second. Okay, we're back. Yep, I missed it in the change log. Alt now runs the game for 1 minute, and space purely serves as a pause. You know what? Fuck it. Fire at will. We don't have... Yeah, you don't have, unfortunately, missiles. And do you have missiles? You do? Have you already fired them? You probably have. It looks like you have, in fact, already fired them. The unfortunate thing here is trying to... I mean, I want to obviously sink the warships, but the objective, the reason we're here is not to destroy the warships, it is to destroy the convoy. So we need to find the convoy. Maybe it's just me, but I'm really feeling like we're not running into what should be the convoy, and we are instead running into what is just purely the warships. But okay, there's the convoy. Finally found it. Do you have a boatload of ammo? Not as much as I would like. And also, yes, as you did see here, I did off-screen switch to switching a lot of our smaller guns to using semi-armor piercing because of the theoretical damage improvements that it provides over over the other ammo types. Because semi-armor piercing does, as the name implies, has some armor piercing capabilities. It's not quite best of both worlds. My understanding is it's roughly 2/3 of whatever your normal armor piercing provides. But it has more damage potential because it has a little bit more, explosive filler compared to just standard armor piercing. Technically speaking, your armor piercing does have an explosive filler. It's just very tiny because the shell is largely focused on, penetrating armor. So that's what it's designed for. Semi-armor piercing says, we can sacrifice some of that armor penetration so we can, get a bigger boom. So, in theory, our ships are capable of doing a bit more damage against a lot of these lighter armored targets like destroyers and CLs and whatnot because they don't have tons of armor, generally speaking. In fact, let's take a look at this. I mean, this is using 4-inch guns, so, it's probably not the best necessarily. And this graph uses the armor piercing values, not whatever you're actually firing. So, at point blank range with armor piercing, it has 2.736 inches of penetration. That is more than sufficient to pen a destroyer because destroyers have no armor. And a lot of CLs that the AI designs have 2, maybe 2.5 inches of belt armor at best. So, it doesn't... Semi-armor piercing, take 2/3 of this. It's more than sufficient to deal with destroyers, and the reality is it should be more than sufficient to pen most CLs that the game is going to throw at you. So long as we can hit the target, that being the issue, of course, is actually hitting the target more than anything else. Although, we are at the point in the game where we have a boatload of techs that improve our armor or our hit chance, so it's not quite as bad. And luckily we have managed to close in on the convoy so we can get a couple of ships sunk. We just need 6, and then we can focus on the remaining escorts. going to try to sink as many of those as we possibly can. Oops. Of course, sinking as many of the actual convoy, or as much of the convoy as we can, is always nice. I don't think it actually provides any real benefits on the world map, unfortunately. That would be actually a kind of nice change if at all possible. But I'm not 100% certain as to how you would implement that realistically. And the Kasagi is out of ammo. The Fubuki still has some ammo. I think what we're going to do is we're going to have the Fubuki continue on. And the Kasagi... oh no, you still... Never mind. You still have secondary ammo. You just don't have primary. That's fine. You can still do... Oh shit. Change of plans. And the Kasagi sinks, damn. Enemy ship hit by a torpedo. I'm not quite sure how, because I don't think anybody fired a torpedo, but okay. Well, we're leaving now. Unfortunately, we can't really go and save the crew of the Kasagi. Because it's just a little bit too hot of an area. So we're going to go ahead and just sail for Yemen, where we'll be nice and safe from the evil British. It is a shame that we lost a CL for that, but we do still come out with a victory because of completing our objective. Wish we could have completed it harder, of course, but oh well. Yep, fired all of your ammo. Oh, there's a nice view map button. That's nice. Well, exit battle. Not a, major victory, unfortunately, but, take what you can get. And I can join when they're ready. Hopefully I don't wait too long. Don't have the money to build that new destroyer we just designed, unfortunately, game. Look at that, Germany. The British have abandoned Northern Europe. Quickly! Rally your fleet. Also, I feel like that's... Where the fuck is your fleet, Germany? Because I feel like you don't have that much, as you should. Is it just because most of it's still in reserve fleet or something? That's the only thing that makes any sense. Let's go ahead and cancel the planned invasion of Singapore to try to save a little bit of our money so we don't just, go bankrupt immediately. Try to delay that as much as we possibly can. Air groups also, we do need to activate some of these. We want to activate Aden and Djibouti. Djibouti, where is Djibouti? Is it not Djibouti? Oh no, we don't have one in Djibouti. Never mind. So we want Rangoon and Aden active. We're gonna want Borneo, which is Pontianak. And I think we're going to want Sorabaya, or Baja, however it's pronounced, active as well. Do I have any airfields here? We do. We have the one in the Bismarck Archipelago, which is Kaveng, or however it's pronounced. The rest of them can stay, I think, well, maybe Cameron Bay. Cameron Bay. Do I want to activate Cameron Bay? No. I don't think any real fighting is going to happen there in Southeast Asia. Most of the fighting in Southeast Asia will inevitably take place around Java and Borneo and Singapore. I don't think it's going to take place up around Vietnam. But I have an airbase down here. Yes. Dar es Salaam. Where is it? There it is. Activate that one. Didn't realize we had a base down there. I completely missed that, evidently. And I really need Germany to get involved quickly, because I need them to distract the Royal Navy. Because until then, we can't really do a whole hell of a lot. I think anybody who is in Northeast Asia is going to be reserve fleeted to try to save money. Oh, the Jacaos need to get refitted at some point to get them to helos, although, you know, can't do that in the middle of a war, because we kind of need them. Let's continue on. Actually, one thing I wanted to check, nope, never mind. Enemies preferring to invade Burma. That's no bueno. Let's see, expected enemy force in battle, 4 destroyers. That's game. No. I'm calling bull game. That's the expected enemy force in the battle. I realize you say that there's a destroyer, or excuse me, a dreadnought, and 7 armored cruisers, and 20 light cruisers, and 13 CVs. Jesus Christ. 2 CVLs, an AMC, an AV, and 71 destroyers in the area. I have a hard time believing that there is legitimately only 4 destroyers that are expected in battle. And we have high intel on the British. So, our spies are crap just like our diplomats. That is the unfortunate truth, it seems. Looks like we're not getting our CVs. I mean, I guess that's fine. I guess I'll survive without my CVs. Also, I like that this gives a bit more detail regarding the mission objectives now, because I don't believe it ever previously stated this last bit. If you win a resounding victory, you will prevent the invasion even if the invasion troops are able to unload. And we've already detected something on radar. Whoopsie, duck and weave, duck and weave. The Shiguri is on fire and took a torpedo, or a missile rather. Apparently it is not sufficiently damaged. though, for us to be able to say, how about you break off the fight? Suo is launching its missiles. Apparently no hits. There we go. Bunch of hits, always nice. They're launching some at us now, so let's try to dodge. Mutsuki, near miss from a torpedo, or I keep saying torpedo, because I'm just so used to torpedoes. They're missiles. The new fancy schmancy version of a torpedo. Mutsuki got hit by a missile that time. Ooh, Suo managed to take a hit. That's not very fun. That's not a CV, I can tell you that right now. That is a transport that is about to have a very rude awakening. You're claiming that's a CL, but that looks a little big for a CL. Because it's not a CL, it is evidently their dreadnought. That makes a lot more sense than what you were saying before, game. Let's just be upfront about that. Anybody still got... Nope, I think everybody's all out of SSMs. Yep, we got some SAMs though on the Suo in case, you know, their CVs decide to pop their ugly heads out. We're gonna let the I think CAs focus on the transports, and we're gonna try to get the Suo and the Tori to be in a bit of a better position to prioritize engaging the dreadnought. Although, admittedly, I think the Abo and Kako will do a relatively decent job. Also, you guys, Jesus, are you guys still in service? Because this is clearly an old design, considering it only has 3 centerline turrets. Right? This has to be an old design. Venetians, it sounds very familiar. I swear it's an old design. It's been so long, though. Suo, you know, maybe deal with your fire. I know our, you know, damage control capabilities have always been garbage, would probably be the nicest way to describe it. Mutsuki, hey, yeah, about that whole fire thing. Maybe break off, huh? And Shiguri, how about you do this? No. What the fuck were you thinking firing those torpedoes? Oh, and okay, we're gonna sink their dreadnought, which is great, because then we don't got to worry about a dreadnought in the Indian Ocean. You know what? I kind of feel like I can probably do this. Order flotilla attack. Let the destroyers go hog wild. Ooh, Katori took a torpedo. From what? Not you, because you don't got torpedoes. It would have to have been just a random torpedo that somebody just fired out and it just happened to hit. Fucking wonderful. And evidently you are not going to actually follow the order to head to the nearest base. Howie's taken quite a few torpedoes. Katori takes another torpedo. I'm assuming it's this guy launching those torpedoes. It's the only thing that makes any sense. Suo is still on fire, so I think we're just going to go ahead and tell it to head to base at this point. I don't think we really need it to stay any longer. You know, and risks sinking because it can't get its damn fire under control. Question is, do we go for those guys who are running away, or do we go for the dudes who turned back, or do we go for the guys that are running away? I'm inclined to go for the guys that are still running away, and I can then have you guys deal with the ones that decided to turn back. Why does it look like... Isn't the blue line supposed to be... Isn't that supposed to be the line for tertiaries? I thought. Could have sworn it was. Because red is main gun and yellow is secondaries. But you don't have tertiaries. Why are you showing a blue line? At least that's my memory of, you know, what the lines mean. Okay, that destroyer is down. Suo continues to struggle to deal with its fire. Well, thank you for, you know, only now deciding to tell me that I can turn off this message in preferences, but I'll tell you right now, game, I don't really want to turn it off in preferences. The only thing I do wish that it would give me would be the ability to click and be taken to where it is. That's just me. It may just be me. Unsighted ship hit by missile, which indicates that there's something over here. And if you're going to tell me there's something seemingly up here, I'm going to have to, change course. Unless it was this guy that did it, but I don't think that would be the case, but it could be. It's certainly a possibility. I just don't think it's super likely. Okay, well that guy's dead in the water anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Oh shit. You've taken a lot of damage. You try to get back to base, but with the amount of flooding you have and considering how small you are, you're probably not going to make it. How about you pop smoke just to try to increase your chances of getting to safety, yeah? Okay, he's dead in the water. We know that there was still somebody else that we kind of stopped chasing. Let's see if we can go back to chasing them again. But that'll depend on if we can find them. I don't think it's super likely. We have that Corvette, which I don't know why the hell there's a Corvette out here, but so be it, is about to take some missiles. Assuming that they can hit, but it looks like they missed, so no hits. You guys do with all your flooding yet? Nope, you're still at 8. Sure, go pick up survivors. Maybe we can steal their tech. I do wish that I could find their CVs. Because I would love to sink their CVs if we could right now, but that's not happening. That's pretty obvious. You guys can't do go any faster than 10. So we'll stick with the 10 knots, I guess. Oh, you're dropping bombs on a Corvette, Jesus. That just seems rude. Don't let him escape. Proceed to lose eyes on him. Oh no, you're not picking up survivors. Your job is to get back to base where it's nice and safe. That's why it's called base. There we go. Okay, as far as we're concerned, the British have been defeated. Now it's just, waiting for the game to actually let us end this. And my timer is apparently going off for a little while. I didn't hear it vibrating. Come on. Turned just a little bit too soon. Nope, everybody just head on into port. Yeah, I get it, game. I get it. I get it. Just, let us get into port, and then you can stop complaining, hopefully. Just get into port. The what? Oh, the Shigure. Didn't you take a missile earlier? You did. I completely lost track of you, Shigure. I'm sorry about that. As you throw a fit like the other ships. Just need you to make it into port so you stop throwing a fit. Yep, and then just let that run for the rest. They have no transports. I assume it's just because their damn CVs somewhere out there are triggering the game to say, oh, you can't end the battle just yet. Yep, let's end the scenario. Oh, look at that. They didn't even have any of those. I don't know what the hell it was complaining about. Game, what ship was still out there? Still moving. That, I guess, just sunk at some point due to flooding is my best guess as to what happened. I can only assume it must have been a destroyer that we missed. Probably the one that we stopped chasing for a bit because we thought, oh, maybe their CVs got stuck up in, this crevice over here. That was not actually the case. We didn't quite go all the way up there to check, but it was pretty readily obvious because there wasn't a bunch of escorts that we were picking up on radar as we started moving up there. But whatever. So, we get a bunch of points. Boatload of points. This is going to be a great victory for us. So let's go ahead and check the Howie in more detail. 9 16-inch guns, 16 5-inch dual purpose, 24 3-inch dual purpose, 8 radar-assisted medium AA guns, and 28 light AA guns, so even the British don't have CWIS yet. Oh, look at that. It looks like they were using semi-armor piercing as well. Also, and I don't think this is in any way accurate, the game is claiming that the rounds left in the main gun were 100%, indicating that the Howie had never fired its guns. Which doesn't seem accurate because this does say that it fired 4 rounds. I guess the question is just, where did it fire the rounds from? Also, that doesn't seem accurate because game says firing ammo type sap, but that doesn't seem correct because the well, no, these are all disabled turrets, but they should still show the ammo for sap if they were firing sap. So I don't know why the game's showing that they were firing sap. That's weird. Ooh. Ooh, damn. Did you guys never update the fire control? Holy crap, this thing is not going to be able to hit anything. The game is claiming that this thing still had improved director in 1941 when it was built. What the hell were you doing? Why did you never update it? So, missile decoyed by countermeasures and then hit by the Mikazuki. Hit again, this time also by the Mikazuki. Disable the radar. Hit by the Suo's missile. Another one from the Mikazuki. Disabling the B turret. Hit by a missile from the Katori, disabling the Y turret. Also, engine room hit. Fire started up here when the secondary guns got knocked out by splinters, and the splinters damaged the machinery from the deck. Wait, so superstructure hit, penetrated, deck hit and penetrated, splinters damaged machinery, secondaries penetrated, if I'm understanding that correctly, secondary guns knocked out by splinters, which is interesting because the game's claiming you have 3.5 inches of secondary turret armor. 2 inches is supposed to be the bare minimum necessary to just block splinters. So, how are the secondary guns knocked out by splinters with 3.5 inches of belt armor? I'm a little confused by that, but so be it. And that's when the fire started. Okay. Fire reduced, fire spread, penetrated by the Suo in the superstructure, pass-through hit. And then in the hull as well, with the same salvo, it looks like. The Alba landed a hit in the engine room. Kako landed a hit on the secondary batteries. Alba hit the B turret's turret top. Kako hit the turret face for the A turret. Alba hit twice. I don't know why these have vastly different ranges though. Must be different turrets, that's the only explanation. Oh, they finally got the radar repaired down here. About, what is that? I believe this is date and then the hour. Local time, I believe. Would make the most sense. But maybe it isn't. It could be this time, which I think is UTC. I don't know. Yeah, either way, the Howie did not have a great time. Those missiles really fucked it up at the start, and losing that radar does not help. But also, it doesn't help that they had shitty fire control. Like, I don't know why they've not touched it, evidently. And yeah, it only fired 4 shots. Which I'm guessing is why the game is claiming it had 100% ammo still. But, yeah, that's not great for them. Ho ho! Ooh, yeah, that's gonna hurt the war effort for the British. That's 12,000 VP for us, and they get a measly 3,000, almost 4. Which I feel is generous for them. Let's be real here. Yes, they did damage to our ships. They didn't sink a single one of our ships. A single one. I feel like giving them 4,000 VP for just doing damage is very generous. They failed the objective. They failed to sink any of our ships. They did a fair bit of damage. I'll give them that. They did a fair bit of damage. I still feel like 4,000 VP is just a little too generous. I really do. Enemy invasion has been averted. I would certainly hope so, considering the invasion fleet got completely sunk. Rocket-assisted ASW torpedo improves the efficiency of ASW mortars. Wonderful. Better 7-inch guns. I don't think anybody has 7-inch guns. So that's not super useful, but thanks anyway, game. We'll say it again. I would really... Oh, Jesus Christ. Did they just bring the entire fleet into the Indian Ocean after that? Looks like it. Not quite sure what's going on there. But okay. Hey, if you guys want to sail back to Northern Europe, be my guest. Be my guest. You know, I'm a little bit shocked that the British or the French haven't gotten involved yet. I mean, I'm happy for that, but it's also a little bit weird. Did the British, or not the British, do the French fear me that much? That they're not going to support their ally? Or did they just say, oh, Great Britain should have this? It's just Japan. Those are my two guesses. Either the French figure the British have this and they don't need to help them. They're just going to say, hey, we would love to help you, but we just don't have the ability to base ships in the, fighting area. So, it's such a shame, isn't it? And then they're just, talking over the British when the British tell them, but you can use our bases. Yeah. Oof, they're not having a fun time. Of course, neither am I, considering that they just brought the entirety of the Royal Navy into the Indian Ocean now as a result of that. But again, Germany, this is your chance. Quickly, join the war. You can blockade them for a turn or two. Depending upon where these guys go next, you might get 2 turns of a blockade. And that would be helpful. Oh, so helpful. It would start to kick up their unrest. Just a little bit. And that's fine. It's perfectly fine. Also, why do we have so many more base resources than the British? Holy crap. Only the US beats us in terms of base resources. And that's because it's the US. They're freaking crazy when it comes to that. Also, I'm a little disappointed that we haven't gotten budget increases as a result of being in a war. What the hell is the Diet doing? Were they waiting to see if we would win? Well, guess what? We just trounced the British invasion of Burma. I think that's reason enough to give us money. Maybe 15,000 would be nice. That would be great. If you could just give me 15,000, I'd be happy with that. But okay, that's going to be it for this part. I will see you all next time where we continue this war and have it probably get ruined at some point because of crappy diplomats. Because our diplomats, as I've said in the past, are crap. They really are. Ooh, what's this? German CV? In Southern Africa? Why? And what's Italy doing down there? Italy? You have nothing in Africa. Well, except for Eritrea, and you should have been able to go through the Suez in that case, so that's a little bit weird. Okay, whatever. I don't know what Italy's doing in Southern Africa. They're just down there for the hell of it, I guess. But, yep, This war is it's either going to end quickly because of crappy diplomats, or it's going to just drag on. Those are the two ways it'll go, and part of that depends upon if and when the Germans get involved, and if anybody else joins, preferably on our side. Hey, America, do you want to join and beat the crap out of the British? I've got decent basing rights in the Indian Ocean for you. You can use them. Could use your help. You could maybe even help the Germans in blockading the British in Northern Europe. You can, because you've absolutely failed to do this throughout the entirety of this campaign. Maybe invade New Brunswick and Nova Scotia and Newfoundland. And, the British holdings in the Caribbean. I don't know why you haven't invaded them. It's not like we haven't fought the British before, with your help, even. You just, for some reason, seemingly don't do naval invasions. I'm not sure why. But okay, I'll see y'all next time now. I mean it this time. That's going to be it for this part. I'll see y'all next time. Until then, goodbye and farewell.